There are some crazy politics in America right now. It's impacting the whole world. So, should we be traveling overseas right now as an American? Is it safe? And what can we expect? Let's talk about that in today's episode. Welcome to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. I'm your host, Heather Markell. If you're dreaming of full-time travel or moving abroad, but stuck at the emotional, financial, and logistical challenges, this podcast is for you. I'll help you trade overwhelm for information that gets you from down and stuck to up and going. You can dream about the travel lifestyle, or you can live the travel lifestyle. If you're ready to live it, then let's jump in together. I'm going to start this episode by saying that this episode is about my opinion. I am not telling anyone to travel or not to travel because that is up to you. And there are always risks associated with travel. I just want to give you a perspective that might help you form your own opinion. And of course, some of this episode is slanted towards Americans because that is my background. Okay, so the question of whether to travel right now brings up two main areas for me. Maybe three, actually. Costs, trends, and safety. Let's start with costs. Clearly, with the tariff wars raging, we're going to see a rise in prices for things like flights, hotels, and food. In fact, you may even see fewer flights if airlines decide they need to cut back a little bit. So you can definitely expect your costs to go up if you're a full-time traveler. This is the time that you want to save as much money as you can. If you haven't started traveling yet, meaning traveling full-time, I would make sure that you have a large savings account balance. And if you're planning to work while traveling, make sure that you have some sort of reliable, consistent income coming in if possible. It doesn't have to be the typical $10K a month, but even $1,000 or $2,000 a month is helpful, especially in this climate. All right, let's look at politics because, well, they're there. We have some pretty heavy stuff happening, in my opinion, even evil. Based on the current policies, my guess is if resources are being removed from the people who need them the most, there may be increases in crime in certain places of the world. So when I travel more than ever, I'm not going to be wearing anything valuable or bringing valuable things with me. Even before now, my whole time as a full-time traveler, and I'm in my 8th year of it, I never traveled with valuable things. And I've always advised full-time travelers the same thing. You're less of a target for theft if you dress down and carry as little as possible with you. The other irony is, in terms of trends, as frustrations grow with politics, at least in the US, where they seem to be vilifying immigrants, more people want to leave the country, creating more immigrants. So another trend I'd expect is to see more people wanting to leave their country to either settle someplace else or become full-time travelers. But what about the mere act of leaving America to take a trip to another country? What might that be like right now? So here are some of my own experiences while traveling. When Trump was president the last time and COVID was in full swing, I was really lucky, to be marooned in New Zealand for 2 years. And while I definitely did meet some Trump supporters, the vast number of people I met traveling throughout New Zealand, when they found out I was American, would say to me either, "I'm so sorry," or more often, I got a question. With such a big country, how come you can't come up with better presidential candidates? Great question. This time, Trump is taking actions that impact the entire world and not in a good way. And frankly, I'm not clear that American citizens who are in America are going to see their lives improve as a result. One of the biggest concerns I have is how the administration is handling the U.S. citizen wrongfully sent to a Salvadorian prison. If the U.S. government is not going to fight to get its wrongfully held citizens out of foreign jails, that speaks volumes. It certainly would make me think about where I travel. Recently, I was in England, and one morning I went to have breakfast at the hotel I was staying in, but they had run out of empty tables. So they seated me across from another female solo traveler staying at that hotel. And of course, we got chatting, and of course, I asked, well, where are you from? Canada, she replied. I gulped as she asked, of course, the inevitable response, and how about you? Where are you from? I put my head down and I replied, your newly evil next door neighbor. We had a great chat. She reminded me of how much other people understand that the people of a country are not the same as the government of a country. And she bore me personally no ill will and thanked me for my sanity. So I still believe that that is the majority of what you'll find when you travel overseas. People that don't understand why America voted the way we did, but also understanding that not everyone voted the same way. On another morning of my recent trip to the UK, I met a French couple. Since I speak fluent French, they were surprised to learn that I'm not French. So they asked where I'm from. I replied in French something along the lines of the country with the worst president. And they responded, Macron! If you aren't aware, Macron is the president of France. The fact is, when you travel abroad, another thing you learn is that lots of people dislike their government. It can make travel a reassuring experience to know that you're not alone in your dislike of your country's politics. And that is another experience that you're likely to find as you travel overseas. I do think, given the fact that the current U.S. administration is hurting the economies and the sense of camaraderie that the U.S. has had with so many of those countries, you should carry yourself like an ambassador when you travel overseas. Your behavior could be judged by some people to let them say and believe, quote unquote, all Americans, insert verb. So now is a good time to behave with kindness and to go out of your way to be helpful to other people. It is not a great time to raise your voice and behave with a sense of entitlement and criticizing as you travel. From my experiences traveling abroad in both Trump presidencies, this time I'm more anxious about returning to the U.S. than I am about going abroad. Are you traveling overseas as an American right now? I'd love to hear your experiences. Post a comment below and let me know. Thanks so much for listening to the How to Travel Full-Time podcast. If you loved it, please leave a review and let us know. Make sure to subscribe to get the latest episodes. Check out the show notes for important resources related to this episode, and come visit us at travellifestylecoach.com to learn more great information. If you're ready to get started with the lifestyle, go to moneyfortravelbootcamp.com, where you can learn all the strategies to afford this amazing lifestyle. Talk to you next week.